go home.
I'd have to, we have. Out for 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I'll clean up this, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Folded my
Okay.
towels.
Uh-huh.
Candle.
It's a mug. It's a candle in the wind.
And vase, I'm with vase.
Yes.
Okay. Let's put that down. So, okay. Now, Kansastam, the simple mean that afterwards he did the Nisuin. The second,
Kansastam, he didn't make any conditions.
right. But Kansa is not Kedusha. Kaddish is Kansa. Kansa means the Nisuin. Second stage of marriage. Takes her into her home. The first one is away from Kedushas. Yeah, right. Kedushin is Eris. And so is the Nisuin. So the simple reading of the Mishnah, we'll say the simple reading, we're going to say later on as a big Talmud. The Gemara is going to be very not simple about this, but let's read the Mishnah plain. I think everybody would read it. The Kansastam is afterwards, after he did the Kedushin with an eye, if he found out solution, but it seems that he didn't find out, and he went on with the Nisuin.
He went on without saying.
Right. But the Nisuin, he didn't say, "I'm taking you into my home." You have no.
That was the
right.
Eris. He did it
Eris
with the
Eris didn't do it by the Nisuin.
Okay.
Here it seems that she is married and she needs a get, but she doesn't. She's not. She doesn't need. He does marry her. It seems marriage, and that's going to be the effect. And make the Tanai again. So it sounds like it is a good marriage. And but here that he considered means he didn't seem that he married her conditionally, but not mamash unconditionally. Not with ksuba. It means that he's not going to marry her and give her ksuba also. He's still conditioned as holding, but he did marry her. It seems that the fact that he had relations with her, and he didn't say again, "I'm only having relations." Condition that means that this is original, but if he wants to divorce me, he can without ksuba. It says another example of the same idea. Same idea, but a different case. He married her. He did the kedushin. Then it's the kedushin of Erison. He did on condition she has no blemish. And they find that she does have, then she's not a good kedushin. Nothing is going. No, but
so that's the almond kedushin. That's what you just said.
Right. But if after I'm saying the pshat afterwards, and this is the same thing. Same thing. Now it says what's considered a mum by a woman. Call a woman shop. So post in the Kohanim, post in the Noshim. Is a list of women blemishes and Maseches Bechorah. So over there talks about what's considered a mum by a Kohen. Over there is a mum by a woman. There might be other women also. The feminine kind of woman. But whatever it says by a Kohen is also a mum over here. And we have a story about that maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't remember. So that's the Mishnah. It sounds like easy Mishnah. That kedushin al tanai. If he didn't do it tonight, didn't fulfill the condition, so not a good kedushin. If afterwards he considered without making the without specifying the condition, it seems like he's marrying her unconditionally. But it is going to take down the money. The kedushin ksuba aspect that if she's not fulfilling the condition, so it's enough to make that he doesn't have to give her ksuba. But it does seem that she still needs a get. That's what Mishnah seems to say. Takes a little bit ksuba. So I read the Mishnah.
But I can see a side. If he during the kedushin tonight. And then he did the Knisa with the stam. It turns out that she didn't
fulfill it.
The whole thing should be.
Yeah, you can say it other way. You might say that
it was never a marriage.
And even if he didn't repeat the condition. So I'm referring to the above mentioned.
Yeah, so I would think that.
So you would say that it would not be a marriage at all, and there's going to be such a side like you.
Okay.
But so far, I bet the Mishnah the same, the plain reading. before the Gemara gets to the real crux of the issue, which is going to be on the bottom of the page, first it has two points to talk about. One is that it has the same Mishnah in Kedushin. The Mishnah is repeated in Kedushin. Usually the Mishnah doesn't repeat itself. So why does it have the same Mishnah in Kedushin and in Kesubas? Kedushin, Kiai has the same Mishnah in Kedushin, the same thing. And the reason is because our Mishnah has two issues. One is if it's good Kedushin or not. The first part of the Mishnah. Then it says if the Teitzei Shlo B'Ksuba. Part was about Kedushin. The first part belongs in Masechus Kedushin. The second part belongs in Masechus Kesubah. It says each time it drags along the other part that's not the issue. We're really interested in the part about Kansa Stam, that Teitzei Shlo B'Ksuba. That's why we said the Sefer, and we talked first case, Tana Kedushin. Because we're talking about Kedushin, we bring the issue also that if the Kedushin was alternized on the Kedushin. And over there in Kedushin, we're bringing it because of the Kedushin aspect. Also in Kedushin is true. Tana Kesubas out to Kedushin. We brought down the Mishnah because Kedushin issue that in Kedesh and also that it was Kam, then Teitzei Shlo B'Ksuba. You have other places also. Sometimes the master conscious, sometimes not. But here it says I would know no nether, no nedorim. But it says no, only certain kind of nedorim are significant. Be'elu nedorim amru. The following nedorim did they speak about when they said that it's not? We'll see with this Mishnah. This is the one we had before earlier. These are considered inner nefesh. This is considered self-affliction. A man doesn't want a deprived wife. He wants her to be happy and with it. And if she's going to be depriving herself, so then she's going to be miserable. He doesn't want that. What's considered misery? She's not going to eat meat. She's not going to drink wine. We had the issue about women drinking wine, but it says, but it seems with moderation, a little bit of wine. In those days, that was only drink, water or wine. So he had no wine. You're just going to be drinking water. So if she says she's not going to eat meat, not going to drink wine, or she's not going to clothe with clothing only black and white. So that's what considered inner nefesh. Just considered she's depriving herself. And then he says, I don't want such a. That was a Yochanan talking, and now it comes a Bryce, that's the same thing. These are considered self-affliction. As a Yochanan in the name of Hashem Ben Yatzadik said, is a Brysa, same thing. Three examples: meat, wine, and colorful clothing. Papa asked the question. The word Havi means to ask. Papa asked the question. Hey, what the Mishnah is referring to? The Mishnah means the Mishnah had the case of Isha. Then it said about Stam. If he said, I want no nedarim, it's his business. If he said, I don't want a net, there's any kind of a net. Why should he limit only some kind of nedarim? If he said, I don't want a woman who has nedarim, not only meat and wine, he says, I don't want a woman who has nedarim. So it shouldn't be limited only to certain kinds. So he doesn't think that the Brisa of Yochanan are talking about the Reisha. Ella Aseifa. He learns it's talking about the Seifa, and for some reason in the Seifa, it's possible to say that over there he only meant certain nedarim. The Gemara alone, I would have learned that it means that here he already said that he is married, he's marrying her, he sees she needs a get. So in this case, where she needs a get, and it's just a question of no ksuba, over there, you can talk about what kind of a neder. But in the ratio where he made it tonight, that he doesn't want a woman with a darim, then any kind of a neder. In the sefer that he's taking her even with the darim, so that but still he has a right to divorce her without a ksuba, that's only when it's a kind of a neder, that's self-deprivation. That was Rav Papa.
What is the sefer?
The sefer is where it says Kansas Stam. That he married her anyway.
Yeah.
And the Mishnah seems to hold, not like you said, the Mishnah seems to hold that he's waiving his condition a little bit. The fact that he didn't say it again. Yeah, we won't argue on that. But if you take the Mishnah as saying that he waives his and he did marry her, but he has a right to divorce her without a ksuba, so then you might say that he's waiving it and he's only going to be makbid on very serious nedarim, like things that are self-deprivation. Tesh says a little different than I said, but just to read it meanwhile. Ravashi has no problem to say that this point that it's only significant in the dharma of self-deprivation is even in the ratio. Even though he said that I want a woman without, and the condition she has no in the dharma, he only means these things. Me did the kapad ba'inshi have a kpeda. Me did the low kapdi ba'inshi love a kpeda. The only things that are normally people are makbid about. People are makbid about these things, meat, wine, and colorful clothing. He has a new thing. He's makbid more. He probably doesn't mean it. He probably doesn't mean that. The words of the Gemara are that his kpeda is not a kpeda. It means his caring doesn't make a difference. Taisus points out if he says beferish, he doesn't want any. If he says specifically no nether at all, not only meat, wine, and clothing, anything. Say if he has the right to do that, Taisus says. But the more means menastam, he's not machad only things that people usually need. So that's the end of that sugya. The point was which nedarim are important. That he meant to say when he wants a wife without nedarim, what does it mean? Either in the ratio or in the sefer, only if it's self-deprivation. But if it's not, then he didn't mean that. New sugya. Now we get to the main sugya. The main sugya is the bottom line. We start with a Gemara, and it seems to be mamash is the same case as our Mishnah, and we're not going to understand because the Gemara is going to be machlokes Rav and Shmuel mamash about what our Mishnah seems to say. It starts like a statement, nothing to do with our Mishnah. Kitcha al tanai v'konsastan. That's the case. The way I explained the Mishnah, that's mamash the case of the Mishnah. Kitcha al tanai. What?
Itmar was the end of the other sentence.
No, the two dances before the word itma.
It had been stated.
Itma, we learned. Itma means it was said. Itma, it was said.
Yeah.
And this is going to be Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. The case is Kitch al Tanai becomes a stam. Rav Amar Tzricha Menu Get. Shmuel Amar Ein Tzricha Menu Get. That's the statement that was said. Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. It seems to be Mamish the Mishnah. Kitch al Tanai becomes a stam. He did the Erison, the Kedushin, Ariat Mekadesh Li on a condition, and then when he did the Nesur, he did it without. He did it stam without specifying any kind of condition. The way I learned the Mishnah, the way I said over the Mishnah, that's what the Mishnah's case is. And here it says in Machlokes, does she need a get? If he wants to divorce her, does she need a get? Rav Amar Tzricha Menu Get, which is very nice with the Mishnah, because the Mishnah says that he could give her a get without a ksuba, but he has to give her a get.
Yeah.
So Rav's very nice. Shmuel Amar Ein Tzricha Menu Get. She doesn't need a get even, the whole thing's off. This is about Lev Yaakov.
Yeah.
Shmuel is like Lev Yaakov's like Shmuel. Rav's like the Mishnah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem, because how can Shmuel go against the Mishnah? So we're gonna have to hold on to take a few lines till we get there. First, the Gemara discusses it without asking the kasha. The Mishnah says the exact opposite. But Amar Abaye, top line, lo tema tama de Rav kivin shekansa stam achuli achle letnoi is the reason of Rav because he was mochel. The fact that he didn't say the condition again doesn't mean that he's mochel the tanai. No, that's not the reason. If that would be so then she wouldn't lose ksuba either. If he's mochel the tanai, then he's saying now, forget about the tonight. I'm going to marry without it tonight.
What time did you start?
8:15.
Illegals.
If the reason of Rav would be because he was mochel the tonight, so then it should be a full marriage, a full-blown marriage. And if he wants to divorce her, he has to give her ksuba. So that's not Pshat Rav. Rav doesn't mean to say he's mochel the tonight. At the time of the Rav, the most of bilas. A man, when he's having relations with this woman, he doesn't want to be. He wants to marry, and he doesn't want to take a chance that his relation is going to be less like znus without an unmarried woman. So therefore, he decides, even though he wants the condition, but he's not going to hold on to this condition. That's going to make that if the condition is not fulfilled, that it comes out that it wasn't a marriage. The kedushin is one thing, but once he's kansa, once he's having relations with her, so then he's not going to say only if it's going to come out that you have another, so then it wasn't a marriage. What was it? He just lied with the woman. That wasn't a marriage. He doesn't want to do that. So therefore, he decides to marry her, even if she has nedarim. But the fact that he doesn't want the nedarim still makes as if he's still saying that if you don't have nedarim, I'm not going to give you the ksuba. So he's not being mochel. Rashi points out that time of the Rav lenient get is because he holds a person doesn't make his bilas nus, and therefore he's making them. Now he is going to marry her. This bilah is going to be kedushin. It means even though the kedushin originally was al tanai, so then that wasn't a good kedushin. But now he's doing the bia. One is bia, and even if she's going to have a neder, but as far as the money, so then he still wants the condition. It means if there's going to be a neder, she doesn't get a ksuba. He's saying I'm only going to give you ksuba. He's not being mochel the whole thing. He's not waving the whole tanai and saying nothing. Forget about it. He's saying I'm going to marry you now, even if the condition is not fulfilled. But I'm only doing it then without a ksuba. Means that on the condition I'm only going to give you ksuba. I'm marrying you that you should only. I'm only chayv to you ksuba if the condition is fulfilled. If not, then it's a marriage without ksuba. He doesn't want to put the bia on the line that there might be a chance that it's not even a marriage. Then he's going to have relations with this woman and it's not a marriage. So
because he said concept, so in other words, it was before the fact.
Because what?
I mean, concept meant he already did the act. Right?
He's doing it now. He's going to do it now. No, he's going to do it now. Now he's going to have that.
And is he going to say?
He doesn't say. He doesn't say anything. He just says
anything, but he's thinking. Rav is saying that he's thinking that
I'm going to marry.
This is a condition that if you didn't fulfill the previous condition.
If it's not fulfilled,
If
if
it's
the
not
condition is not
fulfilled,
fulfilled,
then it's without a ketubah.
right, but I am getting married,
But I don't
because if I
like-
don't
I
marry,
don't
then
like
it's gonna
doing
be
deal with
lying with a
this
woman
news.
without, I don't wanna lose nus. So therefore, it's a marriage, and therefore she needs to get, but I still don't want that it should be a marriage with a ksuba and everything. I don't wanna give ksuba then. It'll be a marriage that it shouldn't be znus, but I wanna be able to divorce without ksuba then.
Why does Rav care if it's nus or not?
He doesn't want to marry a man. That's not that Rabbi cares. Every person cares. He doesn't want. He's not even saying his own
He
opinion. He's
thought
saying
that
people's
he's
opinions
marrying a woman who
on
didn't have
condition.
any tanai.
No, he said it.
That fulfilled a tanai.
But
He thought he's
there's a
marrying a
chance
woman
that he
that
knows
fulfills
there's a
it
chance. If he made it tonight, you're right. He hopes that she's listening to and she's not fooling him. But he knows there's a chance that she might be fooling him, and the chance that it's going to come out that she hasn't been there. So then this marriage, this consummation is not a good consummation. I mean, it's not a marriage. He's just having relations with a woman, which is not a marriage. He doesn't want to do that. He knows there's a chance that that she hasn't fulfilled it tonight, and he's not ready to have relations on the line, on a condition. So he's going to decide now that I'm marrying her all the way. But I'm still not, but I still don't want to have continued such a
Because it has
marriage.
to do with his reputation or what?
No, Daveri. He doesn't want to. They're simple. And any person. And
It's
he's
not
not
an
even,
affair, is it?
why not? It's without a marriage. He's having relations.
Oh, that would be an affair.
She's not an Ish, but she's a Pnuya, she's a single girl, but he doesn't want to have relations with a single girl. Stam out
Is that
of
an
not-
affair?
yes.
Okay.
It's not the Chayv Kriso, it's not Chayv Lavin maybe,
Uh-huh.
but it's like Lo Yekadesh, like, not to have not the marriage. He only wants to have relations in marriage, and therefore, if this is not, so
So I
then
was saying, he must be thinking that.
right. And he's not saying even Allah. He's saying this is what people think. This
that's
is
what
the
people
swara of
think,
people.
that there's-
They're not going to have relations on a
He's not
condition.
gonna go into this and it not be a marriage.
Right,
Okay.
right. But he still wants to hold on to the night, and therefore he could divorce her without.
And is after the word snus or ha?
Ain't no, the most of it doesn't be listeners.
Period.
Yes. Now the more a kasha on this, that we find this machlokes someplace else. Rav and Shmuel arguing. Shmuel seems to say we'll take the chance. He doesn't. Whatever you want to say, however you say pshat. And the Gemara is going so simple about this, and therefore the Gemara is the same point. We can put this in parentheses a little bit. We'll get to the end parentheses soon. The ones about the same machlokes. The itma shelo miana. The Gdila is a marriage of, and then she has the right at any time to just refuse. That's called mian, and the whole thing is off, and there's no. But in that case, was refused. She's ready 12th birthday, and they continue. Living together as husband and wife, and then when she came to, she started relations with her husband, and then you could say that she's saying, but it's maybe she already had relations after she was already a adult. So maybe that marriage is full. Is now going to be a kedushin daraisa. She could do me. She doesn't need to get. She does not need to get from Shimon. Why? Because she's really married to Reuben. Reuben, because when they had relations after the 12th birth, that was real. Taking the kedushin. That was the kedushin. Means, but that got married before when she was 10 years old. That wasn't kedushin. That was. But the first time they had relations after her 12th birthday, Rav said that he had in mind to have kedushin. So now she's his wife, the Raisa. Now she goes to marry somebody else. That's in this. But she does not need to get. That was just relations out of marriage. She does need to get Shimon because she was not married to Reuven. Why is it? Machlokas. The Rav says a person when he has relations, he does. So why does she just stay married? Does Rashi say anything about that? Rashi says with the second one. Because she's married to the first one. So there is an issue that somebody when she's still in Kedushin Rabbanan, the first one. But she's not married to the first one, and therefore she needs it from the second one.
And then she has to do another marriage for the first one. What will she do now?
Okay. So the Gemara says Shvicha have to have both machloksim. Are we?
Is our case or their?
But he was just about he come around mishum the case over there, the case of the Mion. Reason why Rav says he does it as a marriage when he have relations after 12th birthday, it's considered a marriage because he didn't make it tonight. If he doesn't make it tonight, so then we could hear that the first time he has relations with this girl after 12 years old, he does it for kedushin. But here that he made it tonight, so he thinks that the tonight, maybe he doesn't start thinking into it. Maybe the tonight was not fulfilled, and therefore, if it's going to make this kedushin anyway, the whole sugi is going to seems to be talking about. It seems to be revolving around this one point. Everyone seems to agree. The Rashba says, and even Shmuel also agrees that the person doesn't want to have relations with Tznius. But the question is, how much does he think into the possibility that it was might not be a marriage, and they better make this to be a marriage? So here the Gemara says at Ketzad that when there is a Tanai, maybe Rav says that he thinks about the possibility that she's fooling me, and the Tanai is not really fulfilled. Let me make this kedushin. Let me make this for kedushin. But there's a tzad to say that if he made it tonight, so he takes her seriously. The case over there by the girl who's 12 years old, so the first time he has an opportunity, he's going to make the kedushin l'shem kedushin. But over here, whereas a tonight, he told the woman, "I'm only marrying you on the condition that you don't have nedara might be." So he thinks that she's probably on the pay that probably she does not have. So he doesn't go into in case she does want it to be a marriage and know that shouldn't be business. The question is all psychology of a person. When does he choshesh that maybe I is a kedushin? Maybe we had that there was a Tanai. He agrees to Shmuel that he didn't have that in mind, and therefore it's not a kedushin, and she doesn't need to get. And the opposite is also if only we say the case of the say the Shmuel thinks that she doesn't. If she made it tonight, she agreed to the tonight. It is a good. He doesn't go to think maybe it's not a good marriage and I should make a kedushin. But in the case of the first time after they have, she becomes 12 years old. He does have in mind for kedushin. So Rav argued in both cases. And the parentheses over here. Why was it necessary for Rav and Shmuel to argue two times the same thing? So far, what did we do? We did Rav and Shmuel. When I learned the Mishnah, the way I said over the Mishnah, put us into a pickle. Sounds like Shmuel's mamish against the Mishnah. In the Mishnah, case of Kada says she put it tonight, and then Kansa Stam, and it says Tishlo Biksu, which needs to get a get, but without Ksuba. That's not much the way Rav says. Rav says on the bottom, Kitchal tonight, but Kansa Stam needs a get. That fits with the Mishnah. She doesn't need a get. Doesn't fit with that Mishnah. That's what's now. First thing I went to explain Reisha, where it spoke about that it was Kitchal tonight. And then it says Kansas Stam. The case the Resha said Kitcha, and then Kansa Stam, and then she find out she hasn't done. Takes Shlo B'Ksuba. Takes Shlo B'Ksuba means there's no Ksuba, but there is a get. Ksuba Hu Lo Boya, Agita Boya. That means no Ksuba, but she does need a get. My love, Kitchal tonight, Kansa Stam. Isn't that the case? It talks. Doesn't it say that case? The Mishnah says Kitchal tonight, and then it ends off Kansa Stam. The is going in the same case. Tifta the Shmuel. That's the. Now, Lev Yaakov took the side of Shmuel, but the Chor is against the Mishnah. So Amud Beis, the Gemara says the whole loop shot in the Mishnah that I didn't say. No, that's not found in the Mishnah. Kitcha Stam, Vikansa Stam. So we go back to the Mishnah, a new way to read the Mishnah. When we read the Mishnah, back up here, so it said Kansa Stam. So I thought Kansa Stam was going back on the first case where it says he was Makadosh Yisrael tonight.
There's word Stam on both cases. We're talking about the Sefer now.
Right.
And
And
I
I
was
learned,
going to say both times were Stam.
right. And it doesn't say that. I would have thought that the Kansa Stam is a continuation of the first case.
Yeah.
And he says, no, the Shmuel's going to learn the Mishnah that it's a new case. The first case is Makadosh Yisrael didn't talk about anything about Kansa. And here it says Kansa Stam means that everything was Stam. The Kedushin also was Stam. It means a Stam marriage, everybody's quiet. Nobody said anything. And then all of a sudden he comes after the Nisu and she has the Darim, like so. So she looks at him like, what do you want? You didn't say anything. But no, not so simple. It could be that that's considered something that most people don't want, and therefore take Shelo B'Ksuba.
8:15. Well, it was announced to maybe on Friday. He wasn't here on Friday.
Last week was 8:30, so what if mine was late anyway?
Okay, but okay,
7:45, a month ago.
but that's the most kasha now. So Amud Beis. So the Gemara says a whole loop shot in the Mishnah, a whole loop shot that it says the case first she made it tonight, but the Kedushin was with it tonight, and then it says Kansa Stam. Kansa Stam is a new case. Kansa Stam is going Kitcha Stam with Kansa Stam. And that's like a whole new case that he didn't say anything. All of a sudden he says there's no in Dharma, I don't want this. So then it says that she needs to get, but without Ksuba. But if it would have been Aval Kitcha al tonight with Kansa Stam, Achinami de lo boya Gita, if it would have been the case we thought, that it would have been that he made it tonight by the Kedushin, and then by the Nisu he didn't say anything. So you're going to say, Shmuel's going to say over there, she doesn't need to get because the condition is still from the Kedushin, by the Kedushin part. They made it tonight. And then when it came to the Nisu, he didn't say anything. So Shmuel says he still intends the Kedushin, and therefore tonight, just to highlight what the Mishnah did say, that's the good here. It says, Hamakadis Eshisha Amana She'eno Len Adorim Benim She'en Adorim Enim Mukudam. And didn't say anything a bigger chiddush. Listen, he can't say stam v'nim tzol and adorim enim ukudeshes. It should have said a bigger chiddush. Not only if the kiddush on it tonight is not a kiddush, was he did a kansa without saying anything, it's still any kiddush. It should have said that. The Gemara says that's what the Mishnah means. The Mekadosh al tonight, not kiddushin. It means even if it was kansa. That's what the Mishnah really means. Hamakadis Eshisha Amana She'en Len Adorim Bekansa Stam. Did have a concept, did have the Nisuin afterwards. But Nimsu learn the Dharm and Mukadeshes. So the Asa Shmuel learns the Mishnah, a whole loop shot in the Mishnah that it's not saying one case, it's saying two separate cases. One case was the Kedushin was with it Tanai. And even if later on the Nisuin was Stam, the Kedushin is still, the Tanai is still holding strong, and it's not a Kedushin at all. You don't even need to get. The whole thing was off. Then the Mishnah says, but if everything was Stam, he didn't say anything. He did the Kedushin, he did the Nisuin, and then he says, Yav Nadarim, I didn't mean this. So then it's a marriage that she needs to get, but they don't need a ksuba. The Gemara asks the question. Kitcha stam, v'kansa stam, teitze shlo b'ksuba. You Shmuel are learning now that if everything was stam, then it's a marriage, but she doesn't get ksuba. Ksuba udo lo boya, agita boya. She doesn't get ksuba, but she needs to get. Mashna ksuba de lo boya. How come she doesn't get ksuba? The first one line, because he says, I didn't mean this. I didn't mean a woman who has Nidorim, so therefore he gives a no ksuba. So then the whole thing should be a stake. If you say that's a chazaka, that a person doesn't want to marry a woman who has vows on her, then it shouldn't be a kiddushin at all. which Rashi explains, what? That should be like Kedusha Tosh. Rashi explains that Rav didn't have the problem because Rav holds that when a person marries, when he consummates the marriage, he doesn't want to get involved. Maybe it's not a marriage and then it's going to be stam. So he says, I'm marrying now. If it wasn't a marriage then, it's a marriage now. And that's why Rav, we have no problem with Rav. Rav could say, it's a get, but you don't know ksuba necessary. But according to Shmuel, that he doesn't know that that's Torah. So Manushach, you can't saying it goes back onto the first Kedushin. So means it was kitcha stam, but konsa stam. So what's this thing in between that it's a marriage, but they don't get ksuba? Did he mean a tanai or not? He didn't say anything. He did the Ariyat Mekudeshesli, and then he also lived with her, and he didn't say anything. Kitcha stam, but konsa stam. So we say that it's a marriage, but no ksuba, like Mazda. So what's in between? According to Rav, we had this for that by the konsa, he went to marry her. In any case, the law that it shouldn't be as nus, but according to Shmuel, does not have that svara. So where is this kind of semi-marriage? The Gemara answers, "I'm a rabbi, tzricha get with the brain." You're right. Only rabbanon. With the raisa, it's not a marriage. Same way she doesn't get ksuba. He didn't need to marry such a woman, so really it's not a marriage. You don't even need to get. But with rabbanon, since he didn't say anything, so we don't see. No, we're saying okay that people don't need to marry a woman with nidorim, but he didn't. So the rabbanon says you give a get. It's only with Rabbanon that you need to get, but the Rai said it's not a marriage at all. Rav Amar, a little different answer to the Kasha. Tana Sfukim Esafkule. It's a suffix, a stam person when he marries. Anything does he mean here if she's an adronis? She's a vow maker. What do you say? With some people that would they marry such a woman or not? Go ahead. Maybe the fact that she has the question of giving suba, so so he doesn't have to pick suba. But by get, we're not going to say that they should leave. She should leave without a get because maybe he did mean marry her. So that's not how to marry. So just for a second, what happened? The Mishnah that the Mishnah itself says this case that the kitcha al tanai b'konsa stam. That's how we learned the Mishnah. The simple words seem to say like that. That first it was mekadesh shal manashen le'andorin, and then konsa stam. So she needs a get, but without ksuba. And that Rav said, the one said the reason of Rav is because he doesn't make ena damos bilas bilas nus. He's not going to have relations with this woman on the possibility it might be no marriage. So he decides to marry her now, even though he made a tanai about a kedushin. Since he didn't make the tanai now, so he's marrying her now, but only. But he still had the tanai in mind, and therefore no ksuba. But according to Shmuel, the case of kitcha tanai but konsa stam. Don't even need to get.
Yeah, what's his for again?
Shmuel, he doesn't say the svara that Rav says. Then another masabilas nus. So he's still continuing with the first kedushin. He made kedushin al tanai. He still means the tanai. So even though he didn't say
that off,
what,
I thought we knocked that off.
when did we knock it off?
To Yufta the Shmuel.
No, we didn't. No, the Yufta Shmuel. No, Yufta Shmuel was a question. You're right. It says. From the Mishnah, that's Yufta the Shmuel. The more answers, you turn the page. That's Yufta the Shmuel, like with the exclamation mark, with the question mark. Is it a question on Shmuel? No. The more answers. I have wait. Shmuel says I have wait to learn the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't mean the simple reading. The Mishnah means two cases. The first case of Kid Shal Tanai over there, even if he would have been consul later on, also it's not a kedushin at all. You don't need kedushin, no marriage at all. The second case is Kid Shastam but konsa stam. That's the case where we say that he didn't say anything. It might be, might not be, like the Gemara says, suffix. Or maybe get with the Vreya, that over there he didn't say anything, so he doesn't. Over there, it's not a marriage, but you still need to get. You need to get with the Vreya, but and no ksuba, right? Over there, Shmuel says only the case of kitcha stam but konsa stam. That's going to be the case where you need to get. But in the case kitcha al tanai and konsa stam, the kedushin was with the tanai, and then when he had consummated the marriage, he didn't say anything. Then you don't even need to get. What's that? Yeah, go ahead. But that the Nesuin was without saying anything. By the Kedushin, I read to Kedushisli al she'ein alayich nedorim. When he did the Kedushin, he made a Tanai. And then later, that's Kedushin with a Tanai. Then the Kansa, when he came time to marry the Nesuin, she came to live with him. So then he didn't say anything. He didn't say, I'm only doing the Nesuin al she'ein alayich nedorim. He was quiet. Kansa, stam, without saying anything. So did he mean still on the first condition, or he's marrying her now, even if the condition is not fulfilled? That's the sugya. So Shmuel says that in that case, it's not a kedushin. It's still going back on the first on the first
He
marriage.
really meant the first.
He still means the first condition, and if she has the dom, so they're going to have relations, and it's not going to be a marriage, and she doesn't need to get. And Rav says he's not going to do that. The most of he's not going to take a chance and have relations, and it might not be a marriage. So he means to marry her. In any case, she needs to get.
Even
But-
though he meant,
Even though he made it tonight, and he
made
wants
it
it
tonight,
tonight,
he
but he's
wants
not going to. But he's not going to go through with this without still holding on to it tonight. He
Yeah.
knows the woman might be fooling him, so he has in mind that if she does have an adorim, so I'm going to marry her now, but without on the condition she doesn't get. I don't have to give her ksuba. But I'm not going to make this relation with a chance that it might be stamsness. So now the Gemara is going to go even further. Where are we up to? On the third wide line, Amar Rabba. So we started off the Mishnah. We started like very much on Rav's side. Now the Gemara is going to go. Now it's my focus already, Rav and Shmuel. And now the Gemara is even going to go that it might be cases that Rav is also going to be masking that it does not need to get. Does not need to get. More case, the Gemara is going to lean even further to cases or that Rav might also agree she does not even need to get.
okay.
Even though we started off very much
Even
at the
on the
Mishnah,
constant stuff.
even on the consistent, right? Amar Rabba. Amar Rabba, third white line. Machlokes b'tosh shtei nashim. Aval b'tosh isha achas divri akol ein tzrich hamenu get. The way first we going to change this. The first is there's the chiluk between tosh shtei nashim and tosh isha achas. What does that mean? So Rashi says that tosh shtei nashim means that when did he reveal that he doesn't want a woman who has vows? So it could be two women. It could be that he married one woman with a condition, and then he divorced her or whatever, or married a second woman without saying, and he didn't say anything over there. But you see, he's very marked out of the door. The first one, he said farish that he doesn't want a vow. He doesn't want to run this. So it could be that the second woman, even though he didn't say it, it's also he showed himself that this is me. Like I don't take women with Nadorim. But he says here that when does Rav say that she does need a get? Only when it was two separate women. That he only showed his condition on a different woman. So then you can say that woman he made a condition, but this woman he would take unconditionally. Maybe he likes the second one better. Two different women.
Because just because you say something by one, that
Even, it could be because the man, what kind of man is he? It's the same man. But you want to say that to this woman he'll take her even again. Okay, that's what the Gemara is going to say soon. But first the Gemara starts off that if it was the different woman, so then there's room for machlokas. But if it's the same woman, what will be the case of the same woman that he married? He made the part of the case kiddushin or the tanai, and then kansas down. So then divriyakol ain't tzricha menu get. Then the condition is still strong, and it doesn't even Rav will say you don't need to get. Means everyone's coming closer to you. That according to the way the Gemara says, Rav only was arguing if it was two women. He made a condition by one woman, then he marries another woman, so then he can say he doesn't mean to the second one. But that's Rav will say that it's a marriage by the second one. But if it will be the same woman, so then even Rav will say that the condition is still holding and she does not even need to get. But the Gemara said that's what Rav said. But Amar Abaye, I'll show you that's so you're saying as far. You're not saying that you know what Rav and Shmuel. You weren't there. You didn't hear Rav and Shmuel, but you're saying that's impossible. That Batos Isha Achas, you seem to say that's impossible that anybody should hold that you don't need a get. Even that you do need a get. Even Rav will say you don't need a get. That's what Rav seems to be saying. So Abaye is going to show. I'm going to show you that you're wrong. Vamasnisim, Batos Isha Achasi, V'Komasvin and Tiftamine. We had a Kasha and Shmuel from our Mishnah. We had the Mishnah. And we learned in the Mishnah in the beginning that the Kansastam is going back on the Kitchal tonight. And we said, it's against Shmuel. But if you say that everyone agrees that if it was the same woman, she does not need a get, then it shouldn't have been a Kasha on Shmuel. It should have been a Kasha on everybody. You see that the Gemara, when asked the Kasha, it didn't think the way you're thinking. That's what he's asking. That not from Rav and Shmuel, but from the Beis Medrash. Rashi says, the people who asked the Kasha on Shmuel, they thought that Rav holds that it is a marriage even if it's the same woman. So how come you're saying that it can't be?
What's Camus?
Because we asked the Kasha from there. The Muslim is saying what is Tifta. We asked the Kasha from there, and we said that Shmuel, you're against the Mishnah. According to what you're saying, even Rav's against the Mishnah. Yeah, the same shorish as the word Tifta. We asked the Kasha from there. Means we attacked Shmuel that is against the Mishnah. That means that we said that the Mishnah is like Rav. According to you, the Mishnah is like Rav, not like Rav either. Because Rav says that you're saying Rav also agrees if it would have been the same woman, then would not need a get. And the Gemara says that the Mishnah says that you do need a get, and Rav is good. So we change what Rabbah meant to say. Elo yitma hu yitma. The real way to the version, the right quotation of Rabbah is not the way we said it before, a new way. Amar Rabbah, machlokes betos isha achas ke'ein shtei nashim. The Gemara puts in a new concept. One woman who's like two. What's the case of a one woman that's like two? So I never would have figured this. I wouldn't have figured out anything. From the words alone, I couldn't figure it out. Rashi says that he married a woman and divorced her and then married her a second time. So on one hand, he married her, divorced her, and married her again. So and the first time he married her, he made a condition. And the second time he didn't make a condition. So on one hand, it's the same woman, and he sees not put on conditions. On the second hand, it's a separate marriage.
I'm willing to take her with her.
Oh, you don't know. There's room for discussion at least. That's what he says. That when is the machlokes? When it's one woman, which is similar to two, means it was a divorce in between. They took her back. But if it would have been mamish one woman, if it would have been mamish one woman, the kedushin and the nesuin, like we learned till now, then everybody would agree ein tzricha menu get. And the Mishnah, what?
Everybody meaning Rav.
Even Rav would agree that she doesn't need a get because he's serious. He made a condition by the kedushin, and even though by the nesuin he didn't say anything, he thinks that she's going to fulfill it tonight. And he's not thinking in case that I want to be kedushin anyway. He doesn't think so. He doesn't think so much into it, and therefore he doesn't need the mekadosh. Does not need a get. The only time Rav says he needs a get would be one woman, but it would have been a divorce in between, and that the Gemara was willing to accept the Mishnah means there was a divorce in between. But if it would be, that's Rabbah's kiddush. That if it would have been that there was no divorce in between, as mamish one woman, kedushin and nesuin, the kedushin was with tonight, the nesuin was tam. He means the nesuin with the same intention as the kedushin, and if the tanai was not fulfilled, even Rav will agree she doesn't need a get because he's not thinking into this that maybe she's not fulfilling the tanai. He trusts her. Right? We just made it tonight. I mean, the kedushin was out tonight, so was the nesuin. So he doesn't think about it that maybe she's not fulfilling the tanai, and that maybe make this to be kedushin now. And even Rav will agree she does not need a get. That was Rav. Now we're going to come to attack Rav. And then they're not married.
For the second time.
For the second time, right. Esvi Abaya. Abaya asked the kasha on this, on Rabbah. Kids are.
She made a condition and they were married and she fulfilled the condition. They got divorced.
Oh, no, I'm saying the case that we're going to talk about now is that there was no divorce in between. No divorce in between.
No, I mean what we just finished.
We just finished in saying that the machlokes case would be when there was a divorce in between.
And when he was married the first time, he said there's a tanai and she fulfilled it.
I don't know. Yes or no? Okay. Are you saying yes? Okay.
I'm saying whether yes or no, but they divorced.
Okay. Or he didn't find out about it. I don't know.
Okay.
And he divorced her.
The first time was with the sin or just the
First time.
Full marriage. And he gave her a get.
full marriage.
What if they only? It could be also if there was only Eris and also, but there was a marriage and a divorce in between. Now he's married her again. So maybe there's the second one is still holding on to the first one. That's called Isha Achas Kein Shtei Nashim. One woman like two. The fact that there was a divorce in between, so now maybe it's not holding back the same as the first. Esvi Abaye. So now we're out to find, is that going to be a case of Isha Achas? Rabbah said it can't be. And again, Rabbah is not that he was there by Rav and Shmuel to know what they were talking about, but he said it can't be. If it would be the same woman, Kedushin, and then Nesuin, then for sure she does not need a get because his Nesuin is Aldas the Kedushin, and he made a condition, and if it's not fulfilling it, it's not a marriage. And the one is going to show that there is somebody that holds that it is a marriage. In order to knock off Rabbah, all he has to do is find somebody that holds that it is a marriage. He doesn't have to find Rav Shmuel, he has to find anybody, because this Rav actually points out that Rabbah is only coming from his own svara. He's not saying, I know what Rav and Shmuel is saying. He says it can't be. Nobody can hold like this. If we find anybody holds like that, that shows that Rabbah's svara is not true. There are people that hold it, even in the same marriage, Kedushin and Nesuin, maybe it is a marriage. That's going to be the Sugi the Gemara. Esvi Abaye. It seems to be a brisa. Kitcha betos, u'toches b'shav pruta, v'chein kotan shekidesh. Someone made a kedushin with a mistake, which that's what we're talking about. We're gonna talk about what this mistake was. The Gemara thinks it's such kind of a mistake that he made a condition and it wasn't fulfilled. But it doesn't say beferish. It just says kitcha betos, u'toches b'shav pruta. He married her with less than a pruta, which is not a good marriage. V'chein kotan shekidesh, or a minor that made kedushin, which also not a kedushin. You have to be an adult in order to make kedushin. All these three cases are not kedushin. Even though they send presents, the chassan after he does the marriage, nowadays they give marriages during the engagement. They give marriages after the wedding also, but over there was a time in between the Erison and the Nisuin. They made Erison, they had a year in between, and they sent presents in between. That's called Sivlonos. So you might think sometimes the more it talks about Sivlonos might mean that's for a marriage also. Maybe the Sivlonos itself, he sends her whatever, diamond ring, whatever kind of present the husband brings a collar. So you might think that that's a marriage. That's a kedushin. The first case wasn't a good kedushin. The first one was a toast, or that it was less than a shava pruta, or it was a katan. And then afterwards, a couple of months later, we sent her Sivlonos. He sent her presents. And then maybe then it wasn't a mistake already, and it was a shava pruta, and he was already an adult. So no, ain't a kedushes. Shemach mas kedushin avishonim shavach. It doesn't make a kedushin better because the Sivlonos is not a new kedushin. The Sivlonos is just a present based on the first kedushin. He's not coming to marry her again. He thinks that the first kedushin is good. If he gave the first kedushin less than a shava pruta, even though now he gave her $100 ring, $1,000 ring, that doesn't mean he's doing kedushin now. He's just saying, I'm giving you a present because we're already married because of the first kedushin. So it doesn't make the presents are not considered kedushin. That's a side point. Now it says, Machmas kedushin avishonim shalach. He's sending it based on the first kedushin. That's not making a new kedushin now. Okay, so far it's good.
Where's Saval?
I don't know. It's not to make. Usually, Savel means to tolerate. So I don't know where the word comes from that it means a present. It seems to be a new Aramaic word. I don't know. I imagine that it means a present, but I don't know. I didn't look into it.
No, but I'm saying he's sending the present, but she should be stable him.
You have to look into the shorish of the word to see where it comes from. But here, now we're getting into our subject. If they had relations, means whatever this kedushin was. Let's say the case of Pachas B'Shavat Pruta or the Katan, and then later on he grew up, he gave a shot, and then or he had Nisuin. They did Nisuin. They had relations. So Tanakama says Kanu, because even if the kedushin in the beginning was not a good kedushin, but now he's going to do the bia l'shem kedushin. He's going to have the relationship kedushin. He argues. Today's machlokes in the Bryce over here. If the kedushin was not a good kedushin, and then later on they had Nisuin, they had the relations, is that going to be the good kedushin? But anyway, yes.
All those conditions of the three tawiyot.
It seems that it wasn't a good kedushin, but now that he did Nisuin, now it's going to. Now he's doing the marriage. So now, what does the Gemara want? The Gemara thinks that the case of Kishabatos. What's the case of Kishabatos? What is the case? The Gemara thinks it's our case. One of our cases that he made it tonight and it wasn't fulfilled. He thought he's marrying her a woman that doesn't have Nedarim, and it comes out they were Nedarim. And here it says,
we may think she has a blemish.
Yeah, but it's different.
All kinds of things. Why do we say that? Well, we have
the blemish would be the same thing. He made a condition, no blemishes, then she has a blemish.
Yeah.
But how it says, according to one man, the Yamar in Baalu Kanu. And it says here, according to at least Tanakama, one shita that says that if they had relations afterwards, even though the kedushin was with a condition which was not fulfilled, now that he went ahead and made Nisuin, Baalu, then it is a marriage. He needs a get now. So Rabbi came that if it's the same woman, it's on the screen still on the blue line on top, that if it was one woman, the same woman, he said even Rav, that was the most extreme, even Rav agrees that if it was the same woman, he did Kedushin al Tanai and then Kansa Stam, that he does not need a get because it's the same woman and he's still holding that she's going to fulfill the condition. And here we have somebody, according to the way we're reading the Brisa, it says Kitchen Batos and then call Lukanu, according to somebody. Rav Shimon Yehuda says not, but Tanakama and Baal Lukanu. So doesn't that say that even by Vahacha, the Gemara continues, don't you see that this machlok? Some people hold that it is Mekudeshes, even though it was the same woman. He made a kedushin, but it came out there was a mistake, and then they did bia. So it means that he meant to marry her, and if the kedushin and if the tanai is not going to be fulfilled, so this should be the marriage. That's against Rabbah. Rabbah said even Rabbah doesn't hold to that. My love Torah's the door. When the Mishnah says here, when the Bride says kitchen batos, what does Torah mean? Doesn't it mean such a mistake that it made it tonight and it wasn't fulfilled? Lo, the Gemara gets out of it. The Gemara wiggles out of this kasha. Torah's pachas b'shavat pruta. The mistake was that it was not worth a pruta.
So that's one of the three.
Chaim David's on pachas b'shavat pruta. Behedi katani lo. That's the next case. It says kitchen batos and pachas b'shavat pruta. So you can't say that the first case because that's the second case. So the Gemara gets out of it by saying it's only two cases. It's not three cases. Prushi kamafarish. It's just explaining itself. Kitchen batos, ketzad means put in the word ketzad. Kitchen batos, for example, what was the mistake? For example, it was less than a shava pruta. He was a katan. That was the mistake. But don't put into the brisa the case of a tanai. Ketzad going to kitchen batos shava pruta. Period. And the Gemara explains according to this new pshat, what is the machlokes? Means the yisod. There's very nice the pshat that they say in the whole Gemara. Everyone agrees to the yisod that a person doesn't want his bila to be a bilazness. When he goes to make relations with the woman, he doesn't want it to be. He wants to be married. He doesn't want to take a chance on it. But the question is, what's going into his mind? If he thinks of the possibility that this might not be good, this might not be a marriage, so I'm going to marry her now. Does he think about it? If it enters his mind, the possibility that's not a good marriage, so then he says, okay, then I'm going to marry her now. I'm going to be Mekadesh Bebiyah. But if he doesn't think about the possibility that it's not a marriage, then he's not thinking about it. Then he's just relying on that it was a marriage before. So now the Gemara is going to explain that this is the machlokes. What did the Gemara say till now? Rabbi said that if he made a Tanai about a Kedushin, then he thinks that she's fulfilling it. And therefore he doesn't think about if it's not a marriage that I want to marry her now. And even Rabbi's going to say it does not need to get. But here the Gemara is saying, by there's room for argument over here. The Ma'akim Meflagi, Ma'asav Adam Yodea Shein Kedushin Tovsim B'Pachas B'Shavar Pruta, the Gamor Baal Hashem Kedushin. The opinion that says that it is Kedushin in Baal Lukanu is because everybody knows that there's no Kedushin less than a Shavar Pruta. So now that he goes to make relations after he had given her less than a Shavar Pruta, he knows that wasn't Kedushin, so he wants this to be Kedushin. That's why she needs it again. But Ma'asava, you can't say that some person knows that there's no Kedushin less than a Shavar Pruta. People don't know it. And therefore, when he has relations now, he's not thinking, I'm going to be Mekadesh now. He thinks we're married already. So when he has the bia now, he's not taking into consideration the possibility that I have to do Kiddushay bia. It boils down, it seems to be a complicated sugya, but it boils down to a simple point that everybody agrees to the yesod that a person doesn't want to take a chance and make a bilasness. So if he has any chash that this is not a marriage, so he wants it to be a marriage now, and he'll do Kiddushay bia. But if he doesn't have reason to think about it, he doesn't think about it. He thinks we're married, and he's just making the bia al das they were as if they were married before. So that's what the Gemara is saying. By a neder that he made kitchal tonight. So the Gemara is saying it's the same woman. Everything that ain't divorced in between, it's the same woman. So Rabbi said everybody holds that he thinks that she's being legitimate, and therefore when he goes on to the Nisuin and she doesn't say anything that she has Nedorim, he thinks that for sure she doesn't have Nedorim, and he doesn't go to the trouble to think in case someone's fishy over here. In case it's not, so then I want it to be a Kiddushay bia. He doesn't think about it. And the Rabbi is okay now. Rabbi is safe. And the case that it says over here that there are some that hold that it is a good marriage, that's the case of Pachas B'Shavar Pruta. Over there could be that somebody does not know. If he doesn't know that less than a Shavar Pruta.
He doesn't know that this was less than a Pruta, or he doesn't know that he needed it.
No, the Gemara talks about the halacha. Does he know the halacha that the less than Shavar Pruta is not good Kiddushin or not?
He doesn't know that.
So there the Gemara says there's room for machlokas. The people know, the Stam people know. And the reason to say that somebody might say that it is a good Kiddushin is because he knows for sure that less than a Shavar Pruta is not Kiddushin. So therefore, when he goes on to this marriage, he's doing Kiddushin bia now. He knows that the Kiddushin Kesef was not a good Kiddushin.
Well, he knows it wasn't good. That's one side.
And that's the reason that when he does the bia, he's doing Kiddushin bia. He wants it to be a Kiddushin. But in the case of the neder, he's not going to do Kiddushin bia because he thinks that she surely has no nedarim. He trusts her that there's no nedarim. So why should he do a Kiddushin bia? She said she doesn't have any nedarim. I made a condition.
Oh, I see.
I made a condition, and she's probably a nice girl. And, she, as much as he knows her, she should feel it. She should be legitimate. And he doesn't think that maybe the whole thing is a bluff, and she really has nedarim, and it's not a good Kiddushin, and I'm going to have relations with her, and she's not married.
About that,
so
he's going relying on the beginning.
Right, and therefore, even Rav will say she doesn't need to give. So it comes out, it's like it's a simple issue. The issue is how much does a person think about the possibility that this might not be a marriage, so let me make it a marriage now.
Okay. But we're agreeing that everybody understands that you're not married, one's not married if it's less than a Pruta.
Yeah, that halacha is surely true. The question is, the people know that. The people know
we're
that.
assuming that people know that.
That's the machlokes. That's what it says here. My Miflagi. Where's the Gemara? My Miflagi. And this brisa, Tanakama and Rabbi Shimon. Who was that? Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda.
One says that they know that it's Ne'im Kedushin,
By
Tofes.
myself, a person knows that it's not a good Kedushin, less than a Shavar Pruta, and therefore I'm marrying her now.
Yeah.
Kedushin bia. That's Tanakama. And the other one, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, Mishum Abishmol, he says a person does not know that. People don't know that
So he's
Kedushin is not good
relying
less than a
on the
Shavar Pruta, and therefore when he's being bold, he's doing Kedushin. He's relying on the old Kedushin, and therefore it's not a marriage. So the Gemara wiggled out of the kasha because we thought Kid Shabbatos means that it was some kind of mistake in the Tanai that he made. That was the mistake, that he married her with a Tanai and wasn't fulfilled. And the Gemara says, no, you could read, that was Chaim David's point, that it says, Kitcha with us, you could be matcha and say that it's two cases. It's a one big case. The mistake. What was the mistake? Either less than Shabbat Pruta or a Katan. But if it would have been a mistake about an Eder, so then you could say that the Bryce is not talking about that. Over there, he does trust her, and he's not trying to do Kiddush Biyah now, and therefore she does not need a get. There was another kasha, kasha number 2. There's going to be a kasha number 3 also, but I didn't understand this. I'm not going to go so far. Let's do a second kasha. Just give you the same format, more or less. He's having relations with, he's marrying, not only Kedushin, he doesn't give it a ring, he has relations, on the condition that my father is going to be masking. My father, your father, whatever, on the condition that my father is going to be masking. If he doesn't agree, on the condition that my father agrees. The guy says it. So he marries on the condition, it says, I'm going to be bowl you, we'll go through the suin on the condition, okay, and he has relations with her on the condition that the father is going to agree. That means that he took a chance. Sounds like he took a chance, but if he doesn't agree. So here it says, even if at the end the father doesn't agree, still married. Still a good marriage. Only if he wants. So Machlokes. Tanakama says it's a marriage unconditionally, and Rav Shimon Yehuda says no, only if the condition is fulfilled. What do you see over here?
Are we talking about Kiddushin or Nisun? The Lashon is Mikudesha, so we're talking about Nisun.
So Kiddush Biyah. Haveni Ba'alayach would be Kiddush Biyah. That would be the case. Any Rashi on this? No real Rashi. Rashi doesn't talk over here. So, but it could be, it could be that Kiddush Biyah.
We always said that
There's
you can
Kiddush
even do
Biyah.
Beirut, and there are places that you can also do you can boil, I thought.
That's going to be there's Kiddush Biyah. There's Kiddush Biyah. Avnisten is saying that learn that it says Kiddush Biyah. So he was bowl her on the condition that the father should agree, and it says that according to Tanakama, even though the father doesn't agree, it's still Kiddushin. Now, why do we say that the Rabbah is coming with a svara that when somebody makes a condition, he thinks that the condition is going to be fulfilled, and therefore he doesn't have in mind that if not, then it should be a Kiddushin anyway. So here it's a kasha, because here you see that somebody says that it's a Kiddushin anyway. Why is it Kiddushin anyway? Because even on the tzad that the father did not agree, he wants it to work, means that he's making the Kiddushin, make sure that it shouldn't go wrong. It shouldn't be a bilas nus. Rabbi said that he doesn't think about that. If they made a condition, he thinks that.
Why is he taking a risk like that?
So he thinks. No, that's
maybe he thinks the father's going to love us.
That's what Rabbi would have said. That he would have.
It's her father.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but is it hers or his? I thought that it's his father.
It's his father?
He doesn't call it Shver. The Shver he doesn't call Abba.
I see.
I don't know. Some people do. But I think it means his father. I don't know if it makes a difference. But here it says, according to Tanakama, that even if the father at the end does not want, still is Kiddushin. What do you see? That he has in mind that maybe the Tanai is not going to be fulfilled. And therefore he goes through, he makes the Kiddushin, he makes Kiddushin anyway. There shouldn't be a Bias Nus. So it seems to be a kasha on Rabbi who said that's also no such thing. You see, this is the case of the same woman, like we said, and there's not two women or not a divorce in between, and still you see that he takes the caution of marrying her just in case, in order that it shouldn't be a bilas nus. So the one says again, a symbol of terror. No, the machlokes is something else. It means everyone holds like Rabbi that he would not think that maybe the tie won't be fulfilled, but what does he mean to say that the father will agree?
He won't object.
That he won't object.
He won't object, and that'll show that he's.
As long as the father doesn't object,
that means he's
and he didn't object. That's the reason why it's a good marriage, because everyone knows that the Tanai has to be fulfilled, but nothing to do with if he's going to take the precaution and make a Kiddushin anyway. First, the Gemara thought that even if the Tanai is not fulfilled, he's going to make it a Kiddushin in order that it shouldn't take a chance of bilasness. And that the Gemara is going to avoid, will avoid that shot. That's not the case. The case is, Machlokes is, was the condition fulfilled? What happened? He married her, and then they asked the father, it's good? And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. So the father, he's quiet. He doesn't want to answer the question. He does. That's the question. Is that called that's a question. Is it considered that he's agreeing to it? Or what was the condition? That he has to say yes, or he just has to not object? So the one who says that his condition is because the condition was that he should not object, and he didn't object. So it's a good condition. He meant to say the father should agree, and he didn't agree. He didn't say. So that's nothing to do with Amachlokis. The Gemara gets out of it that it's not talking about a case where the condition was not fulfilled and is married anyway because you don't want to make a bilas nos. The Amachlokis was the condition fulfilled. So really, we're in the middle still. And next kasha is going to be a similar kasha, I think, with a similar answer, but I wasn't able to understand it yet. So we'll stop over here. Go up to the word esfei.
So tomorrow, regular time, 11 o'clock.
Bez Hashem. Tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, Bez
Oh,
Hashem.
there's just one class.
What is it? It's 11.
But yeah, regular time.
11. Okay, thank you.
Just to let you know,
Yashikov,
next-
thank you.
Next month's Shabbat is going to be 8 o'clock.
What was
8
this
o'clock.
week?
It's going to be 8 o'clock.
Last week I wasn't here, so I didn't know there was a change.